And we're finally back. It's time to play some more Ho No More Lemmings. It's now time to play level 11 from the Havoc difficulty. Welcome to the party, pal. With that said, it definitely doesn't look that great of a party looking at the scenery. And truth be told, this is not really a level that I enjoy a whole lot, and this might indirectly be related to the fact that there hasn't been any update ever since a long time, because it's just like it's one of those levels where you really have nothing to say concerning it. It's one of those levels where you have to send in the Trailblazer Lemming, and then you're going to have to make your way to the exit, all within the time limit, but as you might have guessed, it's a pretty long journey, and it's also a pretty boring one, because, well, you see the next part of the level? Yep, we're just gonna have to do a giant spiral staircase all the way to the top here. So, I guess I'm just gonna have to issue myself a challenge. Let's see if I can speak about this vertical hallway from which we have to build through and everything without running out of things to say. So, alright, we finally managed to get through one layer of this, only about 10 more to go or something. I think you need something like 8 or 9 builders in order to get all the way to the top here. And you have to keep close tabs on your builders because he's not always going to hit the wall and turn around, especially whenever he's headed toward the right like this. At least it is that way whenever you do the first builder in order to finally start your journey all the way up here. But yeah, it's like this for pretty much an entire 2 minutes. It's like, in some way, this level kind of reminds me of level 12 in Mayhem, the far side, because it's one of those levels where you have to pretty much play with your time limit in a very careful way so that everybody is gonna make it to the end in time. But at least the way that you had to go through in the far side was interesting. Here it's nothing but busy work. It's just like, we started going up here whenever the timer was about 3 minutes something, and yeah, we've spent nothing but 2 minutes building all the way up here, and I've pretty much spent the last 2 minutes doing nothing but whining about this one part of the level. Excellent waste of time. So yeah, in order to make it so that all of your lemmings are going to make it on time, we're gonna have to free our lemmings whenever there's gonna be like 1 minute left. If you don't do that, then things are going to go south really bad. As for the final part, well, you have to break your builder ahead of time because otherwise you're gonna waste way too much time. Except that in Super Lemini, or at least in the one version that I'm using, somehow, well, you know, whenever you work in level design for this game, you will see that in the level editor, the tiles, whenever there's a steel tile, is wider. Well, because I was trying to hit the invisible part of that tile, well, I couldn't dig down. This is not an issue that will occur with most versions of the game, but it's just a little bit more annoying. And here we go, we just got here by the nick of time. It's all about making it so that you will finish creating your path and have your lemmings get there at the same time exactly when everything is over. Other than that, it's a pretty unremarkable level. This one level, however, is pretty neat, and there's definitely more than meets the eye, and I'm not sure that my video will do proper justice as to how this level can mess you up really bad. So yeah, it's all a matter of timing. We have nothing but builders, so the course of action here is to build a ramp in order to land on top of the pillar, because you can be sure that the platforms are gonna make you land beside the pillar. So what we're gonna have to do is we're going to have to start building a little before the pit starts so that the next lemming is going to go and land on the pillar. But it's a little bit more complicated than that, because yeah, you've seen we don't have 3 trapdoors here. There appears to be 3 trapdoors, but instead there are 4. So basically lemmings go out of the gate, starting at the lower gate, middle gate, upper gate, and then the middle gate again, because there are 2 gates in the middle. This is why there's always lemmings that are going to fall way more from the middle portion. So yeah, what you'll want to do is, for the bottom and the top, you have to start building way further behind. But the first ramp that you're going to have to build in the middle portion is gonna be really more further ahead because lemmings are going to pour out much faster. Oh my god, and we fucked it up. This level also requires very impeccable multitasking because if you fuck up any part of this level, then it's all over. You need to be perfect in order to win. So yep, this is indeed not the way to do this level. But I'll get it. So yeah, just in case you were confused by my explanations earlier, first ramp is going to be way further behind. And the second one is gonna be further ahead because we want Lemming number 4 to fall on the middle pillar. So that's why he has to start building much further behind and everything. Because otherwise you're going to run out of builders by the time you get to the end of the level. And for the other lemmings that go behind, it's all a matter of busy work. Now we only have one builder left, so he needs to be the one that will build his way to the exit. Okay, and we barely did it. Yep, this level goes down by the wire all of the time. There's absolutely no denying that it's not gonna be any smoother than that. It's always a pretty rough level with a pretty difficult solution to pull off because, once again, it doesn't seem complicated, but until you figure out that Lemmings 4 has to land on the pillar, you're probably gonna run out of builders when you're doing this level. And now, time for Highland Fling! I miss these levels so much. They're really a boon to the heart. So yeah, apart from being a really shouty title for a level, Highland Fling is really not remarkable in any way. I'm really sorry about that, but this level absolutely does not belong on Havoc difficulty. Compared to a lot of the levels that we've been playing lately, this level is a complete joke. I mean, just look at that. We can just have like one Trailblazer Lemming and have 2 blockers sandwich everybody else while the path is being created. I mean, how simple does it get? Usually whenever you can do that in a level, it's usually bound to be pretty easy because it's a pretty foolproof way of approaching a level. So it's only a matter of doing your builders correctly so that you are going to mine through the second wall over here. With that said, we're probably gonna hit the wall and turn back, so it's time to have another builder in order to turn back the other way. Of course, it's pretty obvious that you need to use the miner here, because if you use the miner on the first wall, you're just going to dig yourself into an endless pit. And after you've dug down sufficiently enough, you have to interrupt your miner with a builder. And apart from that, the rest of the level is pretty self-explanatory. You've seen the vine over here, we know it's a trap, so we're just going to build over it right ahead so that we're not gonna have to concern about this obstacle. And we just need to do one final builder in order to get to the exit, and yeah, that's it. That's the entire level. For level 13 in Havoc, it's pretty underwhelming. Some people are going to welcome this level because it's pretty much a break and it's going to allow you to recuperate after the last couple of levels that could have been pretty hectic for you, especially like level 8 or maybe 7 until you figure out the proper way to do good multitasking on creature discomforts, but yeah, all of this is just baby stuff. I mean, just look at that, we're even gonna have a minute left on our timer, something that we haven't quite seen since a while. So yeah, I'm sorry Havoc, but you're gonna have to do better than that. Oh, okay, that's something better indeed. Alright, now it's time for your final exam in multitasking. Can you handle 4 groups of lemmings in a single minute while doing all of the required stuff? This is one of those levels where the solution is pretty easy to figure out. I mean, it's not gonna take you long to figure out what you have to do in order to win this level, but pulling it off in an entire minute is a completely different story. Like level 12 of Havoc, this is a level that you'll have to pull off perfectly. So, Lemming on the top of left is going to bash twice and then build in order to get to the exit. On the lower right, you're going to climb and dig in order to destroy the pillars. the upper right is going to build all the way up, and on the bottom left, you're just going to climb, you're going to build, and then bash through the pillars. And I've already fucked up because one of my diggers just didn't go right. You're gonna use all of your skills through the course of this level, so not a single mistake is allowed. And yeah, whenever you start this level, keep your cursor on the lower right, because that's where the first lemming comes out. And if you want to reach the top, you're gonna have to build immediately with the very first lemming that comes out of the upper right. So everything looks okay so far. It's all a matter of, is our builder going to make it? Yep, just barely. Now you can see that things are going to get hairy because the lower portions of the level, are pretty synced in with each other. So, yep, as soon as you build in order to turn the climber that is on the lower left, then you're gonna have to dig on the lower right without any kind of hesitation whatsoever. And even then, I failed to build with my upper right lemming that started the level, so who knows, I think I've already fucked up. Yep, I'm not even gonna try, I'm probably gonna run out of time. Alright, are we going to pull it off this time? Okay, we're already 2/3 on the way through all of this. The upper right is really the easiest portion, but you have to make sure that your lemmings are not gonna fall in the last hole, because if it happens, then the level is over. So let's go to the lower left. Yeah, now you have to immediately pause in order to take care of the other lemming, and here we go. I think we've got it. It definitely is a level that is going to come pretty close, but with that said, the 1 minute time limit is still a little bit more forgiving than it seems. Just because it's pretty much like a 10-second walk in order to get to the exit no matter where the lemming is. So, yep, all in all, it's gonna be a pretty tight fit, but yeah, just don't lose your cool. With that said, you probably could have a slight margin of error, but it's very tiny, so yeah, just don't fuck up. Oh, also, look at this title. Have an ice day. Oh god, I'm really sorry about this. But yeah, here's a pseudo-sequel to level 25 of Mayhem, which was Have a Nice Day, but here it's Have an Ice Day, because this level is frozen. Get it? Okay, I'm gonna get back on you later. So yeah, look at that! Here's a level in Oh No More Lemmings that give you more than 4 minutes. You have 6 minutes in order to beat this level, and you will need these 6 minutes if you want to win, so don't waste too much time. Now, it looks like our lemming is headed toward a cold doom, but the cannon itself does not kill you, so in the end you don't end up walking in the jet stream, so that's not gonna kill you. So now it's time for our good old-fashioned routine of building our way to the end of this level. It's a pretty long series of bridge that you have to take care of, but thankfully we have our uncle fast forward in order to speed up the process a little bit. Also, I'm not too sure if the spike above is a trap or not. I never really wish to care about figuring it out, so if you want to be safe, just start building whenever you're just at the shore of the river with all of the foamy or woody bottom of the sea. I really don't know what it is. Now, for the upcoming section, you might be thinking, okay, maybe I need to just build up, use my other blocker, and then build the other way, but instead we're just going to make it so that this one lemming is going to be able to get to the end all by himself, and he's going to build all the way to the right in order to hit the wall, which is here, and then he's going to build to the upper ramp. This is why we have extra time for this one level, because otherwise we will not do this in time. So yeah, this level is definitely a little bit on the tedious side because of how much building you have to do, but hey, in a way it kinda makes it really reminiscent of being a classic Lemmings level. Because I have to say most of the levels in this game had pretty definitive styles and ways that they're played, and this one really plays like a regular Lemmings level, so it's kind of a welcome change of pace. All the way through pretty much the end of the Havoc difficulty. Also, you definitely have way more builders and pretty much everything else, which is why I ended up using a basher in order to get there, because I probably will either splat if I build right from the top of the bridge, or I will just have needed a way bigger bridge. But yeah, the end of the level is in sight, and now it's all about being able to pull off the final builder in order to get above the final barricade. Ah, we barely whiffed. Alright, I don't know, can I still do this in time? I mean, I probably can steer my Lemming back in the other direction, or maybe I can just let it do its course. Okay, and now he's just going to walk all the way back and then finish everything. But with that said, pretty much everybody has to get to the end. But with that said, we can spare one casualty because we have to rescue 8 Lemmings here. What? Yep, here's the final dirty trick that this level has to offer. The exit to the level is snowed in, and your Lemmings cannot enter unless you dig through. And unfortunately, this engine does not let me put a blocker in front of the exit, so yep, I ran out of time and I couldn't bomb the exit properly. So yeah, that's really dirty game. Really not kind. I mean, most of the level was pretty tame, but I figured that this level ended up earning its Havoc moniker just because of this dirty ending. Alright, so let's do this again. This time, however, we're gonna have to time a bomber. So let's hope that we're going to do it right. In order to improve our accuracy, we're gonna use the builder trick in order to stall our bomber, and hopefully that should do it. And if it doesn't work, then I can... Okay, here we go. I could have also built if I managed to dig down way too far, so I will have had another way of finishing this level. But here we go, we're done with this one level. Only 5 levels left, but you can be sure that all of the levels that are remaining are pretty much abomination on legs and feet and whatever you want. These are the 5 hardest levels of the entire game, and you can be sure that they're going to give you all a run for your money. We're pretty much in the 5 inner circles of hell, the one that are going to pretty much make you tortured and scream and yell in pain until that you can take no more. So yeah, guess what we're going to do next update? We're going to play these last 5 levels. So stay tuned for the final update as we play the last 5 Havoc levels.